Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
This is Sunbelt Commissioner Keith Gill, and I listen to the Fun Belt Podcast.
This is the Fun Belt Podcast, part of the Believe Network.
Hosts to Dusty Thibodeau of Warhawk Report, Jeremy Harper of Powell Razor, and Shane Metlin of the Daily News Record.
I think it's potentially a very good week for the Sun Belt.
But I'm just kind of going off on a random rant. It's just frustrating.
So I just want to let all the millions of our listeners to know, the millions of people who download the show, who listen to it on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, the millions and millions of loyal fans, you guys missed the better conversation. We've already had it. I'm not going to recap what we talked about, but it involved. I'm not going to say what it involved, Tibbs. I don't want to bring up the specter of a lawsuit, but I do want our audience to know that the juiciest part of the show happened off camera.
And if we had sponsors, we would give them behind the scenes access to these sponsors, to these slots. And then they would quickly say, I hope you enjoyed that last check because that was your last check.
We would no longer have sponsors if we even had a sponsor.
I was going to say maybe we need like a premium subscription tier where you get access to this juicy behind the scenes stuff.
Or just $1 a month.
I think what we need more than a sponsor might be an HR specialist.
No. No.
Guys, welcome back to the show. Everybody's in a good mood. I don't know why. Is it because it's week 6, Shane? Is it because it's week 6 and we're in the thick of football season and it's beginning to feel a little bit like fall out there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like fall so much since I moved to the neighborhood I'm in now because it's a lot of work to get rid of all these leaves. But it does look like football season out there when you look out the window. Like it looks like you should be playing football games, and I do appreciate that.
You know, it's still getting up about, I don't know how it is in Houston, Tim, but here in Arkansas, it's still getting up to about 85 degrees during the day, but it's not like super humid. And at night, it gets down into like the low 60s, upper 50s, and that feels a little bit like fall. Do you even get a fall in Houston?
You fall down from sweating your ass off because it's still pushing, triple digits down here with the humidity. I'm ready for a little break from the air conditioner bill.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry that Shane and I are enjoying this nice autumnal weather. We'll soon be wearing orange sweaters and like maybe some vests. Hey, Shane, are you a vest guy?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Not really. I have like one sweater vest and I think maybe one like sort of like a fleece vest, but I don't wear them that much. Maybe I should.
I tell you, it's an opportunity for more pockets.
Yeah.
I
was just going to say, Tibbs, you could take a wonderful foliage Sunbelt tour. Start in Huntington, drive through the New River Valley, come up to Harrisonburg to the Shenandoah National Park, take the Blue Ridge Parkway down to Boone. You will not see better leaves in your life. And you'll get to see some wonderful Sunbelt towns. I should be like a chamber of commerce for the Sunbelt League. This is like a
we don't need the girl in the commercial. We need Shane.
Yeah.
Say it with the Shane Rising.
Did someone in the Sunbelt East just hand you a
No, it's rising, the leaves are falling, and it's beautiful.
Get Commissioner Gill on the phone there, Jeremy.
No, you know what? This is Shane's deal. He's going to have to do all the work.
And that's your new clip for the intro, too. There you go.
Sunbelt rising, fall leaves falling. I like that. Okay. That's really good. All right. So we're in the week 6. And I don't know if there's any new news, except there is some news that isn't related to football. We'll get into football in a minute. But I have noticed, Tibbs, and Shane, you're the real journalist, so maybe you already have some insight into this. It looks like we're about to expand the NCAA basketball tournament.
Worst idea ever.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
Like, not for this year, but possibly for next year. I I can live with it if it is the plan they're talking about, because it's like they're throwing in the extra playing games. As long as we have a round of 64 that goes all day Thursday and Friday,
Okay.
I'm fine with it. I can pretend like that's the real start of the tournament and deal with it. Like the worry for me is that this is like just kind of like the gateway drug for eventually getting to like 96 or 100 and however many, or everybody's in like
Cliff Ellis, baby.
So, I mean, I can live with the, what is it, 72? Is that what they said?
Yeah, I think what you were hinting at was that I think that they're sort of expanding the play-in to be 12 teams.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there's
it'd be like 24 teams, 12 games.
yeah.
So then you got, instead of going from 68 to 64, you go from like 76 or whatever it is to 64. And yeah, I can live with that. But my problem is that that's probably not where it stops.
Yeah, see, here's the thing as it is now. You know, you have those playoff games, and then you have your bracket, and the bracket's already kind of screwy because you're waiting for the playoff games to get finished.
Mm-hmm.
I know it usually doesn't have much of an effect on the outcome, but maybe it could. But you're sitting here kind of waiting. It's kind of a I don't know. It sort of hurts it a little bit to me. I wonder if expanding the play-in thing just kind of makes it easier to fill out your bracket a little bit. Like it's just another part of the bracket that's more entertaining.
Jeremy, you always pick the people in the play-in because all the way through the tournament, you get two teams. So you're double chancing one pick.
Oh, wow. That is next level thinking. I like that. Yeah, see, I should have brought you to Vegas. When I went to Vegas, if I had you, you'd be like my Rain Man telling me
I mean,
the optimal bet.
Alabama State or Norfolk
Yeah.
State versus Duke in the Final Four. I mean, it's a no-brainer that that's your pick.
So, Shane, what are the odds, though, that everybody who ends up in this 12-game playoff are like the mid-major teams that they don't want to win anyway?
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to get more into, because I feel like, you know, for what they have, they do the play-in, I think, okay right now, where you get the bottom four, those 16 seeds. And I know people complain about that like, you know, if you win your conference, you ought to be right in there. But at the same time, like, the commissioner of the SWAC's not complaining, because like they have a chance to actually get paid twice now for an NCAA game. They're never going to win a first round game against, you know, Duke or, you know, whoever, but, you know, they could get 2 units by winning that play game. And those schools kind of like that. So that doesn't bother me as much. And then it's like, it is those last at-larges that get in. And I feel like that's the way it ought to continue to be, is, you know, those last at-larges are the ones that get these spots. And, you know, hopefully that ends up being a few more mid-majors, and maybe they are playing in that. But there should be games they have a chance to win, too.
I think that's good news for the Warhawks, Tibbs. I think we could see the Warhawks, maybe not this year because it's not happening this year, but when they finally implement the expanded version, those Warhawks could be right in there, man.
Only if we get to play Arkansas State week after week after week and just keep winning Rice Bowls.
Let's go back a couple of years ago where, you know, JMU ended up getting in as an automatic berth. But, like, if they hadn't won the Sun Belt tournament, if they'd lost to Arkansas State, you know, JMU and App State both were really, really good. They should have been in the conversation for at-large teams, and I don't think either one would have gotten in. Maybe they get in this case, or at least one of them, and they would be a team that would have a chance to win a couple of games too if they got in. So, you know, I don't love it, but I don't hate it that much either. Like, I think it's okay. It has a chance to be okay as long as they're not just like relegating conference champions to like this kind of play game exclusively.
Yeah,
And that's what I hate is that you know that it's going to be the P4 schools that are in that safe in the tournament.
Yeah.
But then this 400 team play in is going to be all the mid majors in the riffraff, which I love being part of the riffraff. But it's like, come on, dude. We had to play just as hard to get there. Sure, we didn't play week in, week out of, playing the likes of Grambling and Southern and Prairie View A&M, but we still had to win our conference to get there.
Yeah, but hey, that App State team from 2024 really had no chance of getting an at-large bid, but was good enough to beat Auburn. We saw them do it. Let's put them in and let's see them beat Minnesota in a play-in game and then turn around and beat Rutgers or whoever in the first round. And hey, all of a sudden the Sun Belt's got 2 NCAA tournament wins and a lot bigger paycheck.
It does make sense too, because it seems like more and more, I think when we started this 64 team or whatever it was before the play-in, there wasn't as many teams as there are now. And now there's 350 qualified teams to get into this thing. It seems like expanding the tournament does at least give people more opportunity to shine on a bigger stage. So
that is, I think, the one decent argument for it too is that it's the one that's not proportional of the NCAA tournaments. Field hockey has got a small field because there's not that many field hockey teams. The baseball field is pretty proportional to the number of baseball teams that there are. Same for softball, lacrosse, all the other ones,
bowling,
volleyball. Yeah, I can't speak to bowling particularly, but I'm guessing it probably is fairly proportional to the number.
Yeah. I can speak to it. Yeah. So
yeah. So those fields, they're based on the number of teams that are actually competing in that sport, and they haven't expanded basketball to at the same rate. But you also have a product that is ungodly popular, and you're messing with it for whatever reason. It's if it's not broke, don't fix it.
If you can squeeze more eggs out of the golden goose, they'll find a way to do that. And they don't think about whether or not it's going to kill it or not.
I do also wonder, though, what's that logistically look like? Because if you play in that first 4, typically you're runner-up in your league, or your net is just that low. But typically your conference tournament's over with that Sunday. So where are you squeezing in this now first 12?
Yeah, are we going to be going into mid-April for the NCAA tournament? Which is rough when it says March Madness on the floor, but
yeah.
May Madness.
Yeah.
I would like the play-in games to be hosted at one of the team's places. That would be kind of cool.
Well,
that would give it a little more flavor.
That's the other thing too. They have Dayton as a great location for the play-ins that they have, because people in Dayton embrace it. They love basketball. They have a good arena for it. People go to it there. They almost kind of treat it like their version of the College World Series in Omaha, where it's we're going to have this every year and we're going to go to it. They're going to put another one in the West, but where do you put it? Where are people going to be that excited about having it? I don't know.
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, but who? Yeah, I mean, or I guess the gamblers can there and stuff, but do it in Vegas,
But you got to remember, Vegas is the convention mecca, and so it's cheap flights, cheap hotels.
Yeah,
to have the bulk of the people there.
But is anybody going to go watch them play or care that they're playing there?
I tell you what, you put that in the Sphere, that might be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that in the Sphere. All right, guys, I'm going to have to.
I mean, they had UFC fights in there, Jeremy. So why not basketball too?
I'm nipping this in the bud now because you know why? It's week 6 of football. You know what? Let's come back to this when it's basketball season. Right now, you know what the season is? The season is for one thing, and that's for, wait for it, guys, the second and short.
4th and long.
No, it's second. Guys, we agreed. This was second and short, not 4th. Although it could be 4th and long this time because, quite frankly, we only have 6 games, which means we could wax poetically a little bit longer if we wanted to. It's no longer 14 teams, 14 games. We're in the nitty-gritty part of the season. We're seeing more conference play. Still some intriguing out-of-conference play. Shane, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Because you look like you wanted to lay down a penetrating thought.
No, I was just saying, thinking that, we spent a good 15 minutes on the NCAA tournament, so we can do second and short in a short amount of time.
That's right.
Punt team, ready up.
All right, you guys know how second and short works. I bring up a football matchup within the Sun Belt. If the Sun Belt team representative is from the West, we start with Tibbs. If it's from the East, we start with Shane Metlin. If it's either one, I guess I just pick arbitrarily. And we try to keep the discussion on each matchup to around 2 minutes, thus second and short. Guys, are you ready for week 6 of second and short?
Ready, Coach.
I love the enthusiasm. It's infectious. All right. Saturday, October 4th. First game. ULM Warhawks are 3-1. 3-1! The Warhawks against Northwestern Wildcats. They're 2-2. Game's at 2:30 on the Big Ten Network. Northwestern, they're 11.5-point favorites, and okay, it's their home place, but they haven't really done much this year. They haven't really had a big victory that made you think, "Wow, Northwestern's the team to beat." I'm going to punt this over to you, Tibbs. What do you expect to see in this game?
Boring football.
Wow.
If you like 4 yards in a cloud of dust,
Uh-huh.
let me tell you about the Warhawks and the Wildcats. The reason I really think that this game has that wide of a spread in favor of Northwestern, they don't do much well, but the one thing they do well is stop the run, because they have a huge, strong defensive line that is full of a bunch of freaks. And with ULM showing that they can really, for the most part, only run the football. I know that Aiden Armenta has had some decent outings there this season in the passing attack, but for the most part, it's run, baby, run. It's going to be a tough haul for that offensive line that's already thin because of a couple of key injuries to try to really establish the run. Or is this the coming out party for Aiden Armenta and he just slings it around? I think that the Vegas odds are right. 11 points, 2 touchdowns. It's still going to be a low-scoring game. I'd hammer the under 40.5.
I would say about Aiden Armenta that previously, his first 3 games, he was averaging 85, 87 yards a game. Against Arkansas State, 185. So maybe he's found his rhythm in the passing game. Shane, you're a creature of the North, I guess. All the way up in Virginia, you have your fingers more on the pulse of Northwestern. Do they have is this really a 11.5-point favorite for them?
It's one where I could see them winning this pretty comfortably, but the chance that ULM has is that Preston Stone is prone to throwing some interceptions. And, maybe that could change, kind of turn this game on its head. ULM can take advantage of some turnovers, control the ball, control the time of possession, keep it a low-scoring game, like Tip said. And I see a way to pull this one out if, they take advantage of some things like that, turnovers, maybe a big special teams play. If it's a normal game, I think Northwestern probably wins relatively comfortably. But there is that kind of hope that Northwestern has been prone to that a little bit this year.
I will say this, that there's probably no better way for Coach Bryant Vincent to attract maybe the eye of, Virginia Tech than by beating Northwestern. That's all I'm going to say on that. So I feel like maybe there might be some extra work, maybe a little more burning of the midnight oil for this. That's just my thought, Tibbs. I can't say that for sure. I don't know if you feel the same way.
In the midnight hour, she cries more and more and more.
I want to see ULM win this one and then go jump in Lake Michigan.
Yes, the polar plunge in not so cold Michigan, Lake Michigan. Next game, Also at 2:30, guys. A lot of stuff going on at 2:30 on Saturday. Oregon State Beavers. They're coming to Appalachian State Mountaineers. Boone seems to do a good job of getting people to travel a long way to come see them. On ESPN Plus, the Beavs are 0-5. Appalachian State 2-2. The Mountaineers get that sort of home bump at 1.5, which, if this weren't this year, might be a little bit insulting. An 0-5 team coming in and only being a 1.5 point underdog to Boone. But there are some questions in Boone, Shane.
There are, and I like App State in this one. I think it's almost like a question of which team's coming in a better mindset. Where you're 0-5 at Oregon State, maybe you've already kind of packed it in for this season. You've got to travel all the way across the country. I don't know if anybody's seen there's a guy who plays for New Mexico State who has a pretty good little YouTube channel, and he did day in the life of here's what traveling for a college football game was like. And I knew it was kind of rough, but they're busy and they're not getting a lot of rest and stuff when they're making these long trips. So does Oregon State pack it in at this point, or does App State, how do they respond to going and just really getting their butts kicked at Boise State? Or do they come out with some fire after that, with an opportunity to beat a name brand team, or do we see them start to kind of pack it in? I think that's really my question. I think App State is very capable of winning this game, but I don't know which version of either team is going to show up this weekend.
Yeah, AJ Swan did not look good in that Boise State game. Boise State has a really good defense. Oregon State's defense, right now after 5 games for them, ranked 110th in the country. So is this the kind of game that sort of jumpstarts AJ Swan and Danger Zone Loggins?
This is D'Lo's game, man. This is where he shines to showcase that not only was he successful in the pros, but he is successful at the college level. This is where he's able to kind of showcase that he's the right guy to lead the Mountaineers back up the mountain, up the standings. With that said, I think that if the Mountaineers can pull this one out, it's going to be a last-second win. But what a great win. That'll be the second P4 victory for the Sun Belt this season.
Are we counting? Oh, wait a second. Are we counting the Beavers as a P4?
I still like to think of them in the real Pac-10.
Okay. All right.
Look, it hurt my head when on Believe in the Warhawks, we did a preview of the Northwestern game, and the guy talked about how UCLA was coming to Northwestern last weekend and was able to get them a Big Ten victory. I couldn't have told you that UCLA was in the Big Ten at all. That hurts my head to even think about that.
I know. Yeah. That is really just some ugly shit to have to say, let alone think about. But yes, you're right about that. The Beavers have a habit, guys, of playing competent football for limited bursts of time. So I do feel like they'll play well against this sort of still getting to know each other Appalachian State team. But I do think Boone, the guys from Boone, win this game. All right, hey, finally, conference game. Jeez, let's get to some Sun Belt on Sun Belt violence. James Madison, they go to Atlanta. They're 3-1. They visit Georgia State Panthers. They're 1-3. It's another 2:30 game. Everything's happening at 2:30, guys. ESPN Plus, the Dukes are 19.5 point favorite. Everything just seems to be coming up pretty good for the Dukes. Lonzo Barnett, he's now getting all the snaps. The running game is looking as strong as ever. The defense, always good there at James Madison. Meanwhile, Georgia State, kind of a dumpster fire right now. What do you see out of this game, Mr. James Madison, Shane Metlin?
Yeah, I think Jamie needs to be ready. The fact, Bob Chesney said it over and over again this week that Georgia State's record was deceiving. They've gotten hammered, let's be honest, by Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. So that's not encouraging. No. But, they played Memphis, which is, if you subscribe to the G5 rankings that a lot of people put out, most people have them either 1 or 2 in the group of 5, group of 6, however you want to talk about it now.
All right.
So they played a really tough schedule. They probably are better than their record. But I do think that JMU is just really good on defense right now. I don't know that Georgia State has quite figured out what they want to do offensively. They're still messing with multiple quarterbacks. So I think JMU should probably win this one and probably not have to sweat too much in the fourth quarter. But, I wouldn't guarantee you like a blowout, which people might think if they just kind of looked at like the overall records and maybe some of the scores that Georgia State's had.
Yeah, I'm sure the Vegas line seems to indicate a big blowout. But Thibodeau, we have to admit, JMU has been looking really good. They kind of embarrassed Georgia Southern last week in Statesboro. Now they get to do the same to the other Georgia team on their home turf. Do you think this becomes any kind of game?
It's a good game until the final or the first whistle blows for the kickoff. I think this is a all Dukes beating. We have to remember that as much as we want to anoint James Madison as the Dukes, as the leaders of the Sun Belt, as the Kings, whatever other title you want to give them, they have not won the Sun Belt Conference yet. And everyone can say what they want to. I know they were 10-2 and should have been in there, but guess what? You weren't eligible, so you didn't win it.
Yeah, hey,
so
you got to be eligible. Yeah,
they still have to prove themselves that they can win the Sun Belt Conference, and I think that this is a game that puts them in position to get a little bit closer to that first Sun Belt Conference title.
Wow. Here's my thing. I think weird things happen in Atlanta. Like when Vanderbilt came to Atlanta last year, and they just sort of did not get what they expected. And I don't know, the thing about James Madison, they seem to be kind of immune to weird things. But listen, they lost to ULM last year, a ULM team that was just as inexperienced as this Georgia State team. So weird things happen, but I think James Madison probably wins this one easy too. So finally, a half an hour later, we get another Sun Belt game. Texas State Bobcats, they're 3-1. This is their first Sun Belt visit of the season. What kind of reception are they going to get from the Arkansas State Red Wolves? They're 1-4. It's 3 p.m. It's on ESPNU, guys. It's on national syndication. Bobcats are a 13.5-point favorite. I'm going to throw it over to you, Tibbs. The Red Wolves not looking very good. The Bobcats are looking really good. Do the Red Wolves have any tricks up their sleeves to make this a game?
I think that their biggest advantage that they could do, because we know that there's the great river to go floating on in San Marcos.
Okay.
Jeremy, get in touch with Hertzman. Did I say it right?
Hertzman. I don't. Who?
The AD. Pretzman?
Chris Desmond?
Him too. Get a hold of anyone whose last name starts with P.
Okay.
And tell them to turn off the water feature so that they don't feel at home. That's the only chance the Red Wolves have. Look, I saw it firsthand, Jeremy, and as much shit as I give you about the game, in all honesty, the kicker for Arkansas State was their biggest offensive weapon, and that hurt to say, knowing that they have a great receiver in Corey Rucker, they have a great quarterback there in Jalen Rayner, but they are just not clicking and tuning together right now. This might get ugly with the Bobcats walking away with their last ever trip to Arkansas State with a win.
You know what Butch Jones likes to say? This
is year 15,000 of mine.
That's right. He likes to talk about eye discipline, though, and that you have to play 11 for 11. He likes those kind of phrases. I don't know what they mean, but apparently we don't have any eye discipline, and we're not playing 11 for 11. But that's okay. Shane, what do you think of this game? Is this game worth being on ESPNU?
We'll see. I think,
very diplomatic.
I heard Billy Dampus wanted to go back to Jonesboro for a full bowl of rice, and now there's not one there.
We don't have one to give.
and it's, so he's a little bit disappointed, but I do think, the fact that there's not a bowl of rice for Arkansas State maybe shows that there's some issues in Jonesboro right now. I think Texas State probably puts the throttle down and wins this one fairly comfortably, unless Butch Jones gets it figured out pretty quickly. But it seems like things are going the wrong direction for the Red Wolves.
The one thing going for the Red Wolves is that they are playing at home where they seem to play much better. Played a noble game against number 14 Iowa State. Played them pretty hard. They got their one win, which was against SEMO, scored more than 40 points. So they do seem to be a little bit different team in Jonesboro. So hopefully, maybe some of that home cooking rubs off for Arkansas State. But until then, it looks like another victory for the Texas State Bobcats. And by the way, I've been hearing rumors that maybe G.J. Kinney is up for the Arkansas job. I'm not saying I got some inside scoop. I'm just hearing some rumbling. Next game. This is going to be a weird game. I'm going to enjoy this one. Coastal Carolina, 2-2. At Old Dominion Monarchs, 3-1. A surprising 3-1. 5 p.m. ESPN Plus. The Monarchs, get this, guys, are 18.5-point favorite in this game, which, judging by Coastal Carolina's past performances early on in the season, I kind of get. The Coastal's coming off that kind of surprise win over South Alabama, which made you think, okay, maybe these guys haven't forgotten how to play all of their football. Is this game going to be a little closer than the 18.5 points projected, Shane Metlin?
Possibly. I'm mainly basing that off of Coastal's last performance, where they actually did something on offense. They seem to maybe figure some things out, although South Alabama is one of my more disappointing teams in the Sun Belt at this point.
Sure.
So I'm not sure how much weight to put into that, but this is where we find out if this is the same old Sun Belt that we've seen the last few years, where, even when things start going in the right direction for ODU, they'll do something weird, like lose to a struggling Coastal Carolina team. Or we find out if Coastal is just going to be that up and down team that they've kind of been in the last few years. Or, is ODU legit, which I think they are. I think ODU is, I think it's going to come down to ODU and JMU for the East. But this is the week that we find out, I think, if ODU really is that team. Because if they are, they'll win comfortably. And if they're the same old ODU that you can't rely on, then this could be a danger zone for them.
Thibodeau, I like Colton Joseph. He's got the 12 total touchdowns, the 900 yards on passing, the 367 yards rushing. But the Monarchs are more than just Colton Joseph. That Old Dominion defense has been devastating. I mean, if you look at the two best defenses in the Sun Belt right now, it's James Madison and it's Old Dominion. Those two are the only teams preventing opponents from scoring less than 17 points. So these guys are going to – this is a showdown that Shane says is brewing. But Coastal Carolina had some life in them last time they played. Can this be a game?
No. This is a weird game for Old Dominion. This is where they come out, they showcase that Ricky Ronnie is still the man, even though he no longer travels with his family to take in baseball games.
Yeah, that's sad.
Look, you mentioned it. This Old Dominion defense is legit. It's more than just Jason Henderson. I mean, you have someone like Jeremy Mack, if I can speak correctly.
You can. 2
sacks already, 3.5 tackles for loss, and an interception, and a forced fumble. Him alone makes up for that defense right there. And then you come into Keyshawn Thomas in the 4 games of the season so far, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Jeremy, let's get weird.
A weird thing for the weirdest team in the Sun Belt would be to lose to the Shams. I do have to admit that. Is this the last game? Oh, wow. Yeah, the last game of the evening, guys. It's nothing less than the battle for... Now, help me out with this, Tib. Is this the battle for the belt or the battle of the belt?
For
the belt. South Alabama Jags, 1-4. They're up against the Troy Trojans, 2-2. It's at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. by golly, that should be the ESPNU game. Troy, they get the at-home 2.5 points. And probably deservedly so. We know that the Jags have just got a way of disappointing people. Troy, under Tucker Kilcrease, hasn't been great, but Kilcrease seems to me maybe finally figuring it out after he pulled down the 2 touchdowns in the win over the Buffalo Bulls. So let me ask you this, Tibbs. Is this another classic battle for the belt that we're about to be treated to?
It'll be a great classic, but I think it's returning to Troy this year.
Okay.
South Alabama, not a good showing last week against North Texas.
Oh.
Troy, they're coming in off of a bye. I like that the Trojans have rested up. I like that Tucker Gilcrease is ready to go. I mean, he did have 3 straight scoring drives there against the Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Give me T-Roy.
All right, T-Roy, T-Roy and under Hector. I love Hector, by the way. I don't know. I don't know if they're a team that's up and coming, but they do seem to have a little more luck going for themselves, even despite losing Goose Crowder. Then South Alabama Jaguars right now. Shane, some of these battle for the belts have been really good. I remember a couple years ago, it was a real fun defensive gem. I don't know if it's going to be a great quality football game this year.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, quality is what we're going to be looking for. Like, these two teams have had their issues, although I do think Troy's heading in the right direction a little bit. Like, I think they'd be pretty solid if they had Goose Crowder right now. But Tucker Kilcrease had a fairly decent showing last time out to get that win against Buffalo. I think they've got a little bit of momentum. I don't know what to make of South Alabama at this point. Tibbs called it a not good showing at North Texas. I actually thought it was like a little bit of a decent rebound from what was like a hugely disappointing game against Coastal. North Texas is a decent team that was on the road. They played much better, but the losses are racking up. Who knows how they're going to respond? And just I think they'll be up for the rivalry game, but I just feel like Troy is a team that's in a better place right now.
Yeah, this looks like to me that the Jags will likely be the better team with Bishop Davenport and Voisin and all the weapons they have on that team. And I think they're somehow still going to lose the game. It's because it's the Jags, Tibbs. We know that. That's just how it's sad trombone, Jags. And that's it, guys. Congratulations. That was our 6th game, second and short for week 6. Week 6, 6 weeks, 6 games, second and short. Not bad. You guys knocked it out of the park. Good work.
Let's do some plug promos and parting shots. And Jeremy, since I did not let you go last time, please start this time.
You feel way too bad about that. Anytime you can shut me up, it's for the quality of the show.
Click.
I will say this. I'm not sure what my second and short is. It's more, or I'm sorry, not second and short. My parting shot is, but I guess it's I'm a father. I've got 2 boys. One's a freshman in college, and one is getting his PhD in economics. And the younger one is going to Ole Miss. So it's a school that I don't know if you've ever been down to Ole Miss, but it has a certain vibe to it. And the eldest one is going to the University of Oregon, on the West Coast. So I took him to Oregon. And the vibe between those 2 schools, boys, cannot be any different. I don't know exactly how to explain it, except everybody at Ole Miss acts like they're about to pull out one of those personal ring lights and start an Instagram reel. Everybody's dressed real nice and they look fantastic and they seem very conscious about the surroundings and about their appearances. And then you go to the University of Oregon and everybody's real chill and baggy, and just sort of like, like they pick something out of the hamper and put it on, and it's just, I don't know, it's very different. So I'm going to sort of be using, I don't know, some kind of litmus test and determine which of my sons are coming out in which directions, see what happens here. But if you guys have any advice for me, I'd appreciate it.
Oregon, aren't they like in the NEC or some? Maybe they're a member of the MAC or something like that.
They are now part of the Big Ten. They had a big win against Big Ten rival Penn State. Ole Miss doing well too. So Ole Miss, I think, beat LSU. So it's like now I have to give a shit, which I'm trying not to, but I guess I'm supposed to.
Shane, what do you have?
Either of you watched the new show Chad Powers?
No.
I've heard of this show's existence.
Yeah, so if you remember, like a few years ago, Eli Manning did a thing where he like got dressed up and had prosthetics on his face and everything, and went to Penn State to try out as a walk-on quarterback.
How did that work out? I forget.
I think they were surprised how well he did, essentially, because I've never heard of this guy. No, he's as good as an NFL quarterback, essentially. Like, yeah. So that's the premise. They took Eli. I think Eli Manning's a producer on this. They took like that whole thing, and except it's like a disgraced former college star quarterback played by Glenn Powell, and he's like in that role where he's dressed up as this guy because the team needed a walk-on quarterback, and he's trying to like it's a what's the word I'm looking for? Reclamation story. Like he's trying to
A redemption story.
Yeah, a redemption story. And it's okay. But I'm just pointing it out because this is the Fun Belt podcast. And if you did watch that first episode, he's going to play at the University of South Georgia, I believe it was. And the stadium looks very, very similar to the stadium down there at Georgia State that the Panthers play in. And just thought I'd point that out, that it's almost like they ripped it off or like tried to recreate like a very nice Sun Belt atmosphere for the show. Or maybe that's just where they happen to shoot it. I don't know.
It could be where they shoot it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that was my joke.
I did see that. Glenn Powell, he's a very appealing actor. He seems like a fun guy to watch on screen. So
I'm not totally bought in on the show quite yet. I mean, it's a football show in the fall, so it's okay. But pointing it out for our Fun Belt listeners, that if you've been down to a game at Center Park Stadium in Atlanta, you'll have a good time, like picking out the different places. Like I was in the stands there, or I walked through that tunnel or anything. So there is that. We're checking out the pilot if you're a Sun Belt fan who spent a little time down there.
So have you seen the Netflix series, by the way, Black Rabbit?
I have not.
All right. It's about two brothers who kind of own a restaurant. And here's the life lesson I got from this. 1, don't open a restaurant. 2, don't have any friends. 3, don't have any family. 4, just don't do anything. You'll be a lot happier. Hey, Tibbs, even though I didn't open up the segment and like introduce it, I'm going to punt it to you.
Something that we're not talking about that we should be. Women's soccer is in full swing.
Yeah.
Huge battle right now on the Bayou at the intermission. 1-1 against South Alabama. It's kind of the number 3, number 4 matchup.
All right. Yeah.
So good soccer. All the conference games are streamed on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Give it a follow, and make sure that you're saving up your rice for next year, Jeremy.
Was your plug for Sunbelt Soccer?
Yeah. What else would it be?
I don't know. I didn't think about using our plug power to plug the Sunbelt. Why don't we do that? Aren't we Funbelt Podcast? Shouldn't we be plugging the Sunbelt a little bit harder?